Hello, good morning. This is our Wellies and Waxjackets allotment channel. We've just started these videos. We're going to show you around our two plots that we have. We took our first plot back 2 years ago, and it was an awful state when we got here. So we've we've done a lot since we've been here. That may not look like it, and it's still a bit of a work in progress. We've literally just taken on a second plot over the last couple of months, and we've made a small start on it. But this video is really just a tour to show you what we've achieved, and hopefully over the coming months you'll follow along with our new plot and how that progresses. So this is our entrance to our plot. The gate that I made only end of last year, I think. Bits of old timber and some wire that we had. This was a recent addition, this large bed. This predominantly will be used for carrots, I expect, once it's filled with compost. We've got all these tubs. I find these to be the best way to grow potatoes. I'm not a fan of digging, so I tend to use tubs as opposed to putting potatoes in the ground, although I might give some potatoes in the ground a go this year. We've got lots of water butts. Some are filled with compost, some with water, unknowingly. We've left the lid off and obviously filled up over the winter. This is the polytunnel that we erected when we first arrived. We've got our more water butts, which are well and truly full. I'm going to look at getting something probably better than what we've got here. Maybe some IBC tank, perhaps. Because, yeah, the blue butt here and the two bins are both full. Our little shed come tea making facilities. We've literally just had, or just put all this wood chip down for the paths, and we are waiting on more compost to top up beds and ready for the new season to get planting. The compost heaps obviously need some attention. These were sort of thrown together very quickly, and as you can see, they're still part of the plot after 2 years that I still actually haven't really done a lot to. We've had terrible trouble with our neighbouring plot, or though it's not really a plot, it's just bare ground at the minute. It's brambles essentially, as was this plot that we're on now. This was 15-foot high brambles, and yeah, it took a mini digger a day to clear the worst, and ever since then I've been digging out brambles, and to this day I'm still digging out brambles. This plot, as a newbie gardener, was pretty much dug over from front to back. It's not something I plan on doing again. Having watched lots of YouTube videos from various people, I've decided that there are easier ways of gardening other than backbreaking, and that is, of course, I'm sure you know, is no dig. And that is the way forward for me anyway, given that I've now got two large plots. So the next big effort will be to create some more compost bins. I didn't plant a great deal last year, and we had an awful amount of greenery, brown waste, etc. to compost, and the bins filled quickly. Obviously they've rotted down quite well over the winter, but yeah, that's definitely something that I'm going to need to improve on. And really, to be honest, this bramble patch here, I've been fighting it for 2 years now, and have now decided that instead of fighting it, I'm going to train the brambles up along the fence, really just to keep trying to dig them out, and then I can just go along with what I call a weed whacker each year and just trim it all down. But yeah, that's clearly something that's going to be happening soon before the new growth takes hold. This little patch is actually mine, but I've donated it, shall we say, to my neighbouring allotment holder as her shed fell down, and had nowhere to put her stuff or store her stuff, because she's got a beautiful plot which is completely full of lovely stuff. And yeah, she's got very little space and still no shed. But anyway, she's commandeered the end of our plot, which, to be honest, we can't actually do anything with the bottom of this plot anyway, because we tried putting these fence posts in all the way around the perimeter. Unbeknown to me at the time, this patch here, from this side to this side, where you can see it sort of steps up, this was all hardcore and bricks, concrete, and this was essentially a sort of driveway or a parking area, I'm told now. So yeah, the digging didn't go very well, given that it was literally just bricks and rubble. And apparently the site was used during the World War, I've been told as well. So for buildings and army, I don't know, I suppose like perhaps a small army base, as it were. But anyway, so last year we membrane, as you see, the plastic weed membrane that was put all over, was originally going to use this with the pallet collars as raised beds, mainly for flowers. But then, as I say, my plot neighbour needed some storage space, so I gifted it to her. But that doesn't matter, because we now have this next door plot too, which is a bit of a mess at the minute. We spent a couple of hours a couple of days ago just putting some wire fencing around. Really, this is a new temporary design, if you like. Literally some short chicken wire and fence pins. Yeah, not sure how that's going to go long term. The pins need organising a bit more, knocking in a bit more, and we're going to need to put some more fence pins in as well, just to secure it a little bit more. We haven't dug it into the ground, which I'd like to do, and that's kind of what I did with the old plot, shall we call it, just to stop the rabbits digging under, really. So yeah, I'm going to have a think about that. I mean, once the grass gets growing around the edge, then hopefully that will deter the rabbits, really. But they're our biggest pest, besides the pigeons, of course. Yeah, we don't really have a problem with deer here. We're quite enclosed all the way around this site. Like I say, rabbits seem to be the biggest issue here. I'm told over in this rubbish patch that there may be badgers. I'm not entirely sure how true that is. I've not really seen any badger activity, but yeah. Also been told not to grow sweet corn on this site, because there have been year after year after year of badgers getting in and destroying the crop. So yeah, I haven't bothered with sweet corn, but I might give it a go one year just to try and prove everybody wrong, and then probably be quite upset when all my sweet corn is eaten. But anyway, nevertheless, we might give it a go. Just thought I'd have a quick chat about our polytunnel. It's been invaluable since we got this plot, and it was actually one of the first structures that I put here. It was I decided to put it under this tree. There's a tree out here. Having never really done any gardening before on this scale, seemed like a good idea at the time. I know polytunnels get hot in the summers, so I thought, put it near the tree, have a little bit of shade in the summer, which works well. Does work well. The downside to putting it near a tree is everything that falls off of the tree and any birds that sit in the tree leave their muck all over the polytunnel. As you can probably see, there is lots of bird muck everywhere, so the poly does need to be clean, actually. But nonetheless, it's been a great structure. This was bought off of eBay for around about £130 2 years ago, so probably a little bit more now. But it's been amazing. We have very strong winds on this site. It's quite an open site. So yeah, but I decided to put it in this corner, mainly because of the shading with the tree, but also because it's a little bit sheltered. We have obviously our tree on our plot. The tree to this side. I have the shed a couple of metres in front of the poly, so whilst that does shade a fair bit, it also gives quite a bit of wind protection. On the stormiest day of last year, we came down to the plot and everybody's polytunnel, our greenhouse structures had fallen, and pretty much ours was the only one standing, which I was quite pleased to see. Really, I don't grow much in here. I initially put all these beds in here to grow because I had every intention of growing, but I found that my attendance at the allotment is and can be quite sporadic. So watering in here was tricky. We spend quite a lot of time at our holiday home, weekends, etc. So yeah, it became quite difficult to water in here and to keep anything alive during the hottest parts of the summer. That said, I was going to get rid of these beds that are in here, but I now think I may keep the beds and invest in a solar water system. It's actually a system that I brought for down our holiday home, where I also have a small kitchen garden. And that was brought last year and works a treat. Absolutely brilliant. It is a drip system, but for things like tomatoes, cucumbers, should be pretty good in here, because you can obviously get the water directly to the soil using the drip system rather than an overhead system. Clearly in here I don't have the headspace to be able to put any other sort of irrigation system in here. But when we erected the polytunnel, I was advised to dig down. So we dug a trench a foot or so wide, a foot or so deep, foot and a half deep, all the way around the edge, installed the polytunnel, polythene over the top, and then the polythene skirt went down into the trench, and then we backfilled with soil. And I think that really was our saving grace with the wind. Thankfully, it hasn't torn anywhere. Don't expect it to last too long, but like I say, it's been here 2 years now, so if I got another year, 2 years out of it, I'd be pleased. But I'm going to actually build another structure on the new plot, which will essentially be a DIY greenhouse. Possibly get another polytunnel for up the other end of the plot, although it's a bit more exposed up there, so I might have a rethink on that. But yeah, it's been great so far, so I highly recommend getting the polytunnel. Right, so this is plot 47, though we called it our new plot. We've sort of made a start. Thankfully, the person that had it before, I think she was here last, maybe a couple of years ago. So it's not actually too bad. Obviously, lots of grasses growing, weeds, etc., but nothing too drastic. We've made a bit of a start on clearing the fruit. I'm going to affectionately call it as the fruit garden. So we've taken away a lot of the fruit bushes, or certainly cut them back. There, we actually did come and, should we say, steal some of the fruit at the end of last year or the end of last summer, which was absolutely lovely, and there was masses of it. But because the bushes were allowed to get so enormous, we actually couldn't get to most of the fruit, unfortunately. But yeah, so I've brought some pots down as well from home. A new blueberry bush that I bought last year, and I believe this is another red currant. Yes, it is another red currant that was bought last year. Don't know how well they'll do, but we'll wait and see on that. We've inherited this beautiful apple tree. I've absolutely no idea what I'm doing with fruit, so this is all very new to me, and I'm kind of learning as I go, mainly through YouTube videos. But yeah, so we've kind of cleared all of the ground, around as much as possible. Having cut down and trimmed back all of these, again, I believe are currant bushes, red currants. Yeah, we've now been left with an enormous pile of sticks, which I shall, well, endeavour to take home and shred. Obviously, that will come back eventually to the compost heap. So, yeah, as you can see, that's kind of all I've tidied, really. Again, it doesn't actually look very tidy, but it's all we've tidied at the minute. But the plan is to, excuse me, put cardboard on the floor. I'm pretty much going no dig on everything. I don't plan on digging anything. Charles Dowding seems to be doing quite well with it, so I'm going to give it a go as well. And I'm going to save myself an awful lot of effort. So yeah, it'll be cardboard laid straight down the ground. The weeds, there isn't too many severe weeds. Again, the worst is going to be the brambles, which I'll fight yearly as they come through and hopefully weaken them year on year. But again, there's not too many on this plot in comparison to the old plot, as it were. So yeah, that's going to be all cardboard, and then we shall wood chip it. We have a lovely guy locally who is more than happy to drop off all of his wood chip for free, which is obviously quite unusual. Certainly down here in the southeast, you pretty much pay for everything, and usually far beyond what you would expect to pay anywhere else. But anyway, lovely chap, brings it all down for us for free, and as much as we want when we want. Right, as for the rest of the plot, it's yeah, it's I'm going to not do too much with the plot this year. It's quite difficult to see, but essentially, the previous owner seems to have had 3 large beds on both sides of this central path. So I shall probably reinstate those 3 for this year. Yeah, I shall reinstate those for this year. And that will probably be about it. Up this end once again, having just put in these fence pins, there is a lot of rubble and brick under here, the same as old plot. So this will, for this year, just be cut and kept cut. Probably won't plant anything up there this year, but we'll probably look to maybe doing raised beds in future years. We shall see.